This is the experimental crown fire study area in the boreal forest of the Northwest Territories of Canada. The plots are 500 feet on a side, or about 5.5 acres in area. Fire breaks 100 to several hundred feet wide surround them. We ignited the crown fires with a truck-mounted device called a TerraTorch. Using this ignition technique, we produced active spreading crown fires under moderate weather conditions. The wind speeds range from 10 to 15 miles per hour, temperatures from 75 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit, and relative humidities from 20 to 40%. In addition to home ignition research, the crown fire experiments included studies of wildland fire physics, fire shelter and firefighter clothing tests, smoke emission studies, and other wildland fire research. You are looking at the downwind side of the experimental plot as the crown fire burns to the end. All of our crown fires produce strong fire-induced winds and turbulence in the immediate fire vicinity. Fire whirls commonly occurred on the downwind edge of the plot. At the bottom center of the scene, you can see the nearest wall section at 33 feet from the plot edge. It was positioned to face the middle portion of the plot's downwind side. This scene shows wall sections from the edge of the downwind side of the crown fire plot. A thermally protected box with heat-resistant glass enclosed the camera. The wall section at the left is 33 feet from the forest edge. The distant wall sits at 98 feet from the edge. Oh yes, we occasionally had equipment failures, as with this instrument tower. The crown fire scorched the near wall without ignition. The distant wall did not scorch. This was another of our experimental crown fires. The fire intensities for this burn were greater than in the previous case. This crown fire demonstrated the turbulence generated by these fires. Note how the flames can momentarily extend beyond the forest edge. As you will see, flames extended from the plot to contact the wall section at 33 feet. You are looking at the near wall section with a clothing test on the ground at the lower right. As the crown fire approaches, you can see smoke, ash, and firebrands blowing past the camera, immediately followed by flames. At this point, the flames contacted the wall and ignited it. The wall at 98 feet did not ignite or even scorch during this fire. Keep in mind that you have observed the full crown fire duration at the downwind edge. It lasted about 50 seconds. When the crown fire burned out, the wall section could not maintain flaming. For this next crown fire, you can see the wall section and mannequins for firefighter clothing tests. Notice the increasing fire-induced wind blowing toward the plot as the crown fire approaches. Firebrands are falling into the firebreak and igniting the remaining woody debris. I removed surface fuel from around the base of the wall section to keep a surface fire from igniting it. You can see the wall section darkening as it scorches from the approaching flames. The wall sections were exposed to radiation and convection from the flames, as well as firebrands. As the view clears, you see a scorched but not ignited wall section, nicely framed by the cracked lens. In addition to wall sections, I also use small structures for more comprehensive testing. The house is 25 by 25 feet, with each wall covered 1/2 by white vinyl siding and the other half covered by cedar lap siding. The windows were double-pane plate glass in a vinyl casement sash. Each wall had instruments to measure the heat received by the wall as well as temperatures of the outside and inside window surfaces. The roof was covered with fiberglass composition shingles with metal eave covering, metal soffits, and no gutters. We chose the materials to represent common construction in the Northwest Territories. There was 30 feet of clearance between the house and the forest. 70 feet beyond that had the surface fuels removed, including the understory black spruce. The jack pine overstory remained unthinned but pruned to a height of 6 feet. I had hoped for a crown fire to head toward the house, but a wind shift caused the fire to flank past. The good news was that it provided an opportunity to observe and measure a low-level exposure and the resulting effects. You are viewing the house from the edge of the 30-foot clearance. The flames in the windows are reflections of the crown fire spreading past the house. The low heat exposure neither broke the window glass nor scorched the cedar wood siding. However, the low heat exposure did significantly damage the vinyl. Notice how it is starting to buckle below the window. Vinyl siding doesn't readily ignite from firebrands or from heating without direct flame contact, so it's not highly ignitable. However, if it falls away, leaving unscreened openings to the house interior, for example the attic space, firebrands can enter and potentially ignite the home. Many of the homes destroyed during the 1998 Florida fires ignited in this way. I couldn't ignite the house with a crown fire, so how about burning pine needles off the roof? We collected dead pine needles and spread them on the composition shingle roof to a depth of about 1.5 inches. I wanted to test what I had seen during actual wildland urban fires, that composition shingle roofs didn't ignite and burn even when pine needles burned on the roof. The composition shingle roof demonstrated its ignition resistance. This is another of our experimental crown fires approaching the downwind edge of the burn plot. At the left of the wall section, you can see a clothed mannequin used for a firefighter safety zone study. To the left of that, you can see aluminum fire shelters being tested. This crown fire was the most intense we produced, as close to a religious experience as we could achieve. The model calculations overestimated the measured heat received from the other experimental crown fires. This was the only crown fire where heat measurements at the near wall section were as great as the model estimates. The 33-foot wall section ignited, and the model estimated that ignition should have occurred at 66 feet. The wall sections at 66 and 98 feet did not ignite. Only light scorch occurred at 66 feet, and no scorch occurred at 98 feet. As with a previous wall section you saw ignite, the flaming self-extinguished when the crown fire burned out.